Friday afternoon, and we are here at Doterra's 2018 convention. We are so excited to be here with everyone, all these amazing wellness advocates. It has been an amazing 2 days, and there is more to come. Austin, tell us your experience so far.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. There's nothing like getting together in a room with 30,000+ people, just that excitement, that energy. You just can't even describe it, right?
Yeah, it is truly amazing.
But we're excited you guys can join us from home. We've got some amazing content coming up. Healing hands and co-impact sourcing. Oh man, that speaks to me.
Oh, definitely.
We've got Mark Wolfert. Love hearing from him. Immaculate, were you there when Immaculate gave her presentation?
And when I heard that she was coming back, man, honestly, she had me in tears the first time. So hopefully they don't have the camera on me this year.
And he doesn't cry very often.
I don't.
So that just, there was not a dry eye in the entire house. So I'm really excited to hear those things. I hope you guys are as excited as we are. Amazing experience. I love just being here. We hope you guys can join us next year for sure.
Oh,
you got to be here in person.
Well, even the people that weren't able to make it this year, we have this amazing opportunity for all of you guys to be able to stream it live. If you have people that haven't had the chance to register yet, you still have time to be able to go watch the rest of this amazing convention, and you will have an additional 2 weeks to be able to watch the whole thing.
2 weeks? Oh
yeah.
My goodness.
So if you missed anything or you want to rewatch something because maybe you had something going on at that time, you still have the opportunity to rewatch it, so you can't miss it.
Oh, and you know what? It sounds like they're about to start
Oh,
in there.
it
I hear
does.
some excitement. We better get out of here because we do not want to miss this. We're excited you guys can join us from the comfort of your living room. We'll see you guys on the big stage.
The Doterra Healing Hands Foundation brings healing and hope to the world through providing global communities with the tools they need to become self-reliant. By participating in projects that address the needs of microcredit lending, access to health care, education, sanitation, clean water, and fighting child sex trafficking, individuals are empowered and lives are changed. Doterra International provides all the overhead and administrative costs of the foundation, thereby ensuring that 100% of all donations go directly to the people in need. That's been the mission and the vision of the foundation from the very beginning, even when Doterra International didn't have very much, even when its founders weren't drawing a paycheck. But the desire, the objective was to establish a pattern of giving right from the very beginning. In fact, one might say that as much as we love the essential oils, as much as that brings hope and empowerment to people that use and share the oils, the culture really begins with this desire to give, to help, to liberate, and to empower others through the foundation. One of the primary differences between Doterra and its humanitarian foundation and so many others is the difference that you see in the lives of the people. They come to Doterra looking for their why, their reason to participate in something, to give back, and they find it in the Healing Hands Foundation.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Doterra Founding Executive and General Counsel, Mark Wolfert.
Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble.
Well, hello everyone. Good afternoon. You know, yesterday Rob Young embarrassed a bunch of his partners with those pictures, and then he got to introduce his first grandchild that was born on Tuesday. And that was great. We congratulate Rob for that. But not to be outdone, I have here with me my 9th grandchild. This is Harvey Wolfert, and he is 4 months old, and he's a little stud. Okay, Grandma. He loves his grandma. I have an announcement that you'll all want to pay attention to. As you know, our wonderful convention kits, there's been a limit on how many people can buy from each account. We're going to lift that limitation at 4 o'clock today. So, if you don't have your convention kit yet, you might want to place your order. Okay. You know, we all have our why, or we're on a path to discover our why. That little boy with me, that's one of my whys. But we have our whys on why we choose to affiliate with the people, the causes, the companies, and the products that we do. Why are you associated with Doterra and here at this Doterra Convention? Why did you initially come to Doterra, and why are you still here? For many of us, it's the essential oils, the Doterra CPTG certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils, and the great they do around the world and how they change lives for good. For others, their why may be the opportunity to associate with other good, like-minded people in the Doterra family, and for the opportunity to learn from them and to mentor them and work alongside them in a cause that they believe in. There's also Doterra's compelling co-impact sourcing initiative, which focuses on making a positive difference in the lives of farmers and harvesters and distillers who all contribute to Doterra's oil production. For me, it's all of these things combined with Doterra's Healing Hands Foundation and how we are able to serve our fellow man, woman, and child together to rescue, to lift and empower, liberate, and to minister to those who are in need all around the world. This is my why. This is what excites me to get up every morning and come to work. And also, it's gratifying for me, as it probably is for you, to witness others finding their own why and discovering their own true identity as they participate in the Doterra Healing Hands mission. So, today, I'm just going to give you an update on some of the activities and goals of the Doterra Healing Hands Foundation from the last year. To begin, we're excited to show you the new Doterra Healing Hands Foundation website that went live earlier this month. You are going to love this, I promise you. It is a great source of information and a fantastic tool. Have you ever wished you could go to one place and find out everything about what's happening with the Doterra Healing Hands Foundation? This is it. You will be able to see the many projects that we're involved with, including stories and pictures. It will also help you walk through a much simpler step-by-step process to apply for matching funds for your own Healing Hands projects. You can use this site to donate to the Healing Hands General Fund or direct your donation perhaps to one of the matching campaigns. But we're confident that this will be a website and a resource that you'll go to often, that you'll be proud to share with others. It's got a new look, a new logo. I think you've seen it the last couple days as we've shown this logo. So please go visit doterrahealinghands.org. Now, we are committed, as we've said in the past, to being totally transparent with you regarding our Doterra Healing Hands Foundation, the activities as well as donations, expenses. You can also access this online in our annual report. In 2017, as you can see, over $5 million was raised. Thank you. And it's estimated that we will receive over $6.6 million by the end of this year. The foundation continues to grow. Thank you for your continued generous donations. And thanks to Doterra International, who pays for 100% of the administrative overhead costs of the foundation. Thank you, Doterra, and thank you, Doterra advocates. What this does is it allows the Healing Hands Foundation to focus on its mission to free lives from disease and poverty, and to empower individuals and communities with the tools that they need to become self-reliant. So I'd like to update you now on some of the projects that we're excited to share with you from this year. I'd like to introduce you first to another exciting project that we're doing in Park City, Utah. Let's roll this film.
We have currently 15 beds, and now we'll have 60, so it literally quadruples the capacity that we have on our campus, which will make a tremendous difference in better meeting the needs in our community here in Summit and Wasatch County.
Well, Kendra, listen, on behalf of Doterra and the Healing Hands Foundation, I just want to express to you our gratitude for allowing us to be a part of what you're doing here. It's our wellness advocates are very excited. They'll continue to be very excited about what this facility is going to be able to provide for this community, particularly for women and children.
The Healing Hands Foundation is pleased to help fund the construction of this very important and much needed facility in Park City, Utah. It's meant for the survivors of domestic violence. The Peace House will be a secure facility which will have 8 emergency housing shelter units with flexible configurations to accommodate a variety of families. There will also be 12 self-sufficient suites that will be intended to provide stability for the people there between 6 and 24 months of occupancy. Peace House will also provide support services. It'll have a support group room, a child care center, a peace room, a classroom, an outdoor courtyard, and it'll have a client boutique where residents can shop for clothes and shoes and other essential items which are donated by the community but which are free to the occupants. What I love about the Peace House, it will quadruple the number of units from 15 to 60 that are currently available for survivors of domestic abuse in the Summit and Wasatch counties. Okay, next, India is home to 60% of the world's leprosy cases with more than 1,000 leprosy colonies. While the bacteria that causes leprosy is easily treatable and curable, the stigma and the fear and the cultural beliefs that are associated with leprosy discourages many from even seeking treatment. As leprosy affects the nerves of an infected individual, it can lead to a loss of sensation and injuries that often go unnoticed, infection leading to amputation, deformities to the face, reabsorption of limbs, skin ulcers, and blindness. Those with leprosy are often sent away, and in India, They're considered the lowest caste, the untouchables. So even when cured of leprosy, the nerve damage is irreversible. Therefore, early detection is crucial. The Doterra Healing Hands Foundation has recently become associated with and begun providing funds to a humanitarian organization that addresses the stigma of leprosy by offering treatment to those affected as well as supporting their families. This organization, Rising Star, helps with economic rehabilitation and self-sufficiency, and with education and medical clinics, including mobile medical units. The Healing Hands Foundation has provided funds for a mobile medical unit to reach patients who live too far away from a clinic. We're also providing funding to Rising Star for medicine and medical supplies, sterilization equipment, as well as what they call microcellular rubber footwear, which helps prevent further injuries and protects against these ulcers that can lead to amputations. Additionally, and this is important, we are excited to partner with Rising Star in a promising research study, which will provide further hope, insights, and solutions to individuals suffering from leprosy. Stay tuned on that. Now, convention last year saw Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria in close succession. Since then, there have been additional storms and earthquakes, flooding, fires, volcanoes, and even some tragic shootings. And through it all, the Doterra Healing Hands Foundation has been in the unique position to provide assistance by sending our 72-hour emergency relief hygiene kits that have been purchased by you and donated to the Healing Hands Foundation to aid in these kinds of emergency situations. Thank you. As many of you know, Doterra also donates the profits from the sale of these kits to the Healing Hands Foundation for use in relief efforts where maybe cash is better used and needed. The Healing Hands Foundation has donated Doterra Breathe products to ease breathing, emotional aromatherapy oils for comfort and stress, water, food, mattresses, masks, you name it, first aid supplies, and other Doterra products. What excites me the most often, it is you, our wellness advocates, who mobilize your teams and communities to assess the needs, and then you distribute the supplies. We commend you for those efforts. Thank you. Whether it's through purchasing the emergency relief hygiene kit or being on the ground to hand a kit or supplies to someone in need. And last week, anticipating that there would be some problems coming on the East Coast, we all had a lot of notice of that. We sent over 5,000 of these kits to our warehouse in Atlanta so that we can be immediately ready to respond to requests from the Carolinas and the Virginias in there with Hurricane Florence. And in fact, as of yesterday, we already had over a dozen wellness advocates distribute over 2,000 of these hygiene kits in the Carolinas. So thank you. There's another video we want to watch. Let's roll that. While there isn't time to acknowledge all of the actions of all of those who helped in emergency relief situations or the ongoing efforts afterwards, we would like to make particular mention of the volcano eruption in Guatemala on June 3rd. Can you believe those pictures? That destruction was instant and it was devastating. Guatemala, as you know, is where we source cardamom, a key ingredient in doTERRA Breathe products. The distillery where cardamom seeds are processed is located on the slopes of the Fuego volcano and miraculously did not suffer any significant damage. However, most of the distillery workers and their families live in the surrounding villages which were evacuated. Thankfully, no lives were lost, although many lost family members, and many are still in shelters or have been relocated because they can't yet return to their homes. So an initial donation was made immediately to distribute supplies and was organized on the ground by some of our sourcing partners and our friends at Mentors International. An assessment of the ongoing needs has shown that the main problem for villagers now is access to water. The pipe supplying the neighboring communities was destroyed during the eruption, causing water shortages and sanitary problems for the villagers. And frankly, it's preventing them still from returning their homes from the shelters. So thanks to contributions by many of you to a Guatemala matching campaign, we're pleased to report that the Healing Hands Foundation is restoring access to water by installing a mechanical well, which will provide access to up to 1,000 families in several villages by connecting a pipeline with water going directly to their homes. We're also funding the reconstruction of many of the roofs that were damaged by hot volcanic ash and are helping with counseling of traumatic children. I just love this picture of this little girl waiting for her water. What a joy it is and what gratitude we feel when we know we can do these sorts of things to help our friends and neighbors around the world, especially those where we are sourcing our precious oils. Since last convention, we have continued our ongoing support of the Sica Bay Training Center in Guatemala with the continuation of a literacy program for women, as well as clean stoves, stove maintenance, latrines, a water system for the Chulak community, and a suspension bridge. You'll see the picture here on the right, to help children cross the river and travel safely to school. Previously, especially during the rainy season, children would have to either brave dangerous river currents or just stay home from school. So how wonderful that is. Thanks to you that we're able to help them with that. So moving on, besides Guatemala, there are Healing Hands humanitarian projects in Albania, Bulgaria, Haiti, Kenya, Madagascar, Nepal, and Somaliland, and there are others in the planning stages and development. These are all places where doTERRA sources its CPTG certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils, which makes it all the sweeter to know that we're helping people where we source our oils. Let me just quickly update you on some of these projects from the last 12 months. We'll start with Albania. The Healing Hands Foundation made a donation to the new co-impact sourcing area of Albania. Public schools there seldom experience improvements or upgrades to their facilities, and so, in fact, the bathrooms are often neglected. So if a school even has an indoor bathroom there, it may not have running water, it may not have sufficient toilets for the student populations, or separate facilities for boys and girls. So consequently, it's often the female students who directly or indirectly are discouraged from attending school. Families often struggle to send their daughters to school, and thus issues of hygiene and sanitation further contribute to a gender gap in education. We're looking forward to seeing the renovated bathrooms at these schools in Albania. In 2016, the doTERRA Healing Hands Foundation has been active in Bulgaria, home to Doterra, our farming support and distilling operation that's based in Dobric, near the Black Sea. Many of you have been there. Raise your hand, let us know if you've been to the distillery, Doterra. Okay, we all hope, over the years, we hope more of you have a chance to go there. We began in Bulgaria by collaborating with the Social Tea House, which is an organization that's dedicated to creating equal opportunities for children in Bulgaria as they, quote unquote, age out of the orphanage system. This provides children between the ages of 14 and 18 with personal and professional and job skills training. Otherwise, they just are back lost in the street and in the system, and they don't have an opportunity to provide for themselves or become profitable, contributing members to their families and society. And so we've been able to expand our projects in Bulgaria to include playground renovations, scholarships, and a mentorship program, and involvement with the Children's Milk Canteen in Dobric. Let me tell you about this. The Milk Canteen, the name's kind of a misnomer, but it's a program that specializes in children's health care and provides meals for children 10 months to 3 years of age, with almost 1,200 meals being prepared daily for these children. So the Healing Hands has donated funds to purchase a van for neighborhood deliveries and to update the canteen's kitchen equipment and to renovate the bathroom facilities. Additionally, we funded projects at the Dobric Community Center for the playground and the sound system, as well as renovated bathrooms at a Dobric Children's Orphanage. Now, in the Marjoreni village of Kwale County, Kenya, at the Mwamose Primary School, the Doterra Healing Hands Foundation is helping to provide 3 water tanks to supply clean water to the 950 students there. You see, collecting water in this area is a task that's done mostly by women and children and can require traveling long distances through desolate areas where they're vulnerable to animal or human attacks. So this will really help them be able to source their water a lot easier without the danger of collecting that. Moving on, in the remote area of Nosy Bay, Madagascar, healthcare is difficult to come by. The Doterra Healing Hands Foundation provides funding for a mobile health clinic for 10 village communities with a local doctor, visiting each village twice a week and to see patients there right in their homes. Before this time, they just didn't have access to health care. And so additionally now, a health officer is chosen from each village and is provided with first aid kits and doTERRA products and training in the use of these resources. Now, as many of you know, the Doterra Healing Hands Foundation has made significant contributions in Nepal since the earthquakes of Nepal of 2015. How many of you have had a chance to visit Nepal with us on one of our trips? Thank you. As you know, the contributions there have included relief and rebuilding efforts, the construction of schools, community centers, hospitals, and clinics, such as the hospital here pictured in Makwanpur, which was completed this year. Many of you have been there to help us in these efforts. And since convention last year, additional funding was provided for a community center and a cooperative meeting house in Dolaka, some heating birthing rooms at the hospital in Palung, and a health care center in Ramashop, which will give more than 15,000 people to have access to medical care. Are you starting to get a feel for what this small little company that started 10 years ago is being able to do now around the world? I mentioned earlier that 30% of the foundation's funds last year went toward projects with our official corporate partners. I want to say how grateful we are for these remarkable organizations and the miracles that they perform in their respective missions. Healing Hands is very fortunate to be able to work with these humanitarian organizations, as well as I'm just going to call them extraordinary individuals who run them, some of whom you'll meet here in a few minutes. I'm going to quickly highlight some of the projects that we've partnered with them on this year. If you've been with us for a while, you know that Mentors International was not only our first corporate partner, but they received the first donation made ever by Doterra Healing Hands Foundation. And so to date, you've donated almost $2 million to Mentors International for small business loans to hardworking entrepreneurs who need help in starting or expanding their family businesses. These donations have gone toward microloan funds in Guatemala, Peru, Ghana, and the Philippines. And since our last convention, a new loan fund has been established in Nepal. Additionally, we've expanded into a third area in Peru and have opened a second area in northern Ghana, as well as adding to the loan funds in Guatemala and the Philippines. So to date, even though $2 million has been donated, $5.6 million has been dispersed in loans and repaid in these areas since our partnership began. Thank you very much. At convention last year, we were joined by many of you and our corporate partner, Days for Girls, to set the Guinness World Record for the most personal hygiene kits assembled in 1 hour, with 5,100 kits being assembled. And as you recall, we ran out of materials. That record was set in like 45 minutes. Since then, more than 1 million women and girls have been empowered with the menstrual health solutions and education needed for a lifetime of dignity and health and opportunity. We continue to support the great work of Days for Girls, whether that's working to end the chapati tradition in Nepal or opening a new sewing center and office in Guatemala. And we look forward to helping liberate millions more women and girls. Another one of our corporate partners in the fight against human trafficking takes a preventative approach in their work. Three Strands Global and its online Protect program provides education and training curriculum to students and their teachers to help avoid and prevent exploitation. The Doterra Healing Hands Foundation is funding access for all Utah teachers in a 3-year statewide rollout of this Protect anti-trafficking curriculum. The Alpine, if you're from Utah, you know the Alpine and Granite school districts are already engaged in this program, which again helps to raise awareness and implements protocols that manage the process for relief once a trafficking victim has been identified. On this picture, Ashley Bryant, she's the president and CEO of Three Strands Global. She joined with us at a press conference last April in Salt Lake City as part of our 10-year anniversary celebration. And so with Ashley and then Sean Reyes, Utah's Attorney General, we announced the launch of the Protect program in Utah. You see, California has already implemented this program a number of years ago with measurable and objective markers to be able to really tell whether the students and teachers are learning and benefiting. And the success in California has been overwhelming. And so we're excited about the potential, not just in California and Utah, but to help Three Strands eventually expand that Protect program to other states. You know, our human trafficking efforts really are a three-legged stool. There's the rescuing, of course, there's the aftercare, but there's also the prevention. How much better would it be to prevent the abuse in the first place? So speaking of Sean Reyes, I'm going to get a little help from him and another friend to introduce our next partner. Let's roll the film.
Team Doterra, welcome to the great state of Utah. I'm Attorney General Sean Reyes, and I want to thank you, first of all, for coming here and for creating such an incredible movement of health and wellness. Doterra offers opportunities to people of all walks of life. something that I feel passionately about is fighting against the modern scourge of human trafficking. It's modern day slavery. Doterra is a supporter of Operation Underground Railroad, and I have a vest from one of the operations that we recently did in Haiti. And so I want to thank Doterra for supporting the mission of organizations like Operation Underground Railroad. And it's through organizations like Doterra, your commitment, your passion, your humanity for lifting others, that we can really make a difference in the fight against human trafficking.
I am lucky to be a daughter of parents who immigrated from Haiti. I am lucky to be raised and born here in the United States. So being able to work with Doterra and OUR to help children that are suffering, to be able to work with them and save some of these kids, not just save them, but give them hope for the opportunities for a really good life and care after they've been these victims of these horrific acts is really quite inspiring. I'm so proud of Doterra being able to go in and help fund these Rafa houses and help fund these places where they can go and be able to get some sort of normal life again. This is not just about work. It's about us using our gifts and our talents to help those, not just in our community, in our country, but around the world.
Hang on. We now have the privilege of welcoming to the stage a remarkable individual who's no stranger to Doterra or our conventions. He's been with us here before. A few years ago, while he was working as a special agent for the Department of Homeland Security, he discovered that there were things that the U.S. government could neither legally do nor effectively do to rescue victims of sex trafficking, especially in foreign countries. He therefore resigned from his job with the U.S. government and founded a private, non-governmental company which has become one of the most successful, if not the most successful, anti-human trafficking organizations in the world. His organization is dedicated to rescuing and helping children who are survivors of human trafficking and working with local law enforcement to catch and put away the bad guys. The organization is Operation Underground Railroad. The man is Tim Ballard. Help me welcome Tim Ballard to the stage.
And the story goes on. That's how the story goes.
Wow! Thank you. Wow, thank you so much. We are so honored to be partners with you, be partners with Doterra. What we've been able to do together, just going through my notes, it's overwhelming. We have rescued so many kids together. I was here 3 years ago on this stage, and I told you something, that you could, just here in the United States, this is not just a problem overseas, it's right here. 250,000 children here in the United States. So what you could do is you could take all the seats in this arena, put a child there, and multiply it by about 14. That's how many kids right here in the US are dealing with this. And Doterra has helped us tremendously to find these kids. In fact, the very first operation we did with Doterra, Dave Sterling, CEO, founder, Doterra, came with us, and I reported on this operation we did. It was in the United States, and I haven't given you the update yet, but I just posted it on my Instagram at Tim Ballard. Go check it out, and I tell you what happens at the end of the operation. 33 pedophiles off the streets. Go check it out. And we had Dave Sterling right in the middle of all of that. So please go watch him and watch the news update. at Tim Ballard on the Instagram. Now, that was just the beginning. Doterra was dedicated to continuing to work here in the United States, to find these children, to get these pedophiles and these traffickers off the street. And what we have done with Helping Hands, with Healing Hands, is we've built these mobile units, these mobile labs. So when our law enforcement goes out and does search warrants on these traffickers, we're the highest consuming nation in the world, the United States, for child pornography. That's horrifying. And we are taking it to them right now with these mobile labs. Because when our law enforcement now shows up to do warrants to take these guys down, usually it's very difficult to get the evidence quick enough to arrest the guy, and then the clock starts for the prosecution and it becomes problematic. No more. Our mobile labs that you have helped build for us and for law enforcement allows our police in this country to start processing the evidence the minute the guy's being interviewed, the minute his house is being searched. And so we can arrest the guy right away. These are the labs these mobile labs that you are building for law enforcement. Unbelievable. The other thing we're doing, cutting edge. We talked about this last year at convention. These canine detection dogs. You've heard of bomb dogs and drug dogs, but these dogs look for digital media. So these horrible pedophiles, they'll hide their child pornography on the tiniest little drives, thumb drives. They'll hide them in their carpet, in their curtains, in their floorboards, and they think they're getting away. No more, because we are bringing these dogs to them. You remember Cinnamon Bark? Cinnamon Bark, these dogs all get the wonderful doTERRA names. Cinnamon Bark was the dog that we first sent to Florida. We have sent two dogs to California, and just recently to Pennsylvania, and have more news later about some awesome stuff that we're working with doTERRA and with OUR in Pennsylvania with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Yeah. So the domestic work goes forward, and of course, doTERRA is international, and so we look for these kids who are being held in the darkest corners in captivity. 30 million people, can you believe this, are in slavery today. 6 million children in some form of slavery, whether it's sexual exploitation, slave labor, organ harvesting, and we are going out with you, with your foundation, with doTERRA, into these places. One place where we worked together on this year was in Colombia. Someone's from Colombia up there, all right. We did something in Colombia that's not been done anywhere else in South America. And what we did was we created a forensic lab. So all the countries from South America are congregating to this lab that doTERRA built with OUR. And what it does is it allows for online investigations to go forward. These pedophiles, these traffickers, they're all on the dark net. They're trading their child porn. They're making deals to buy and sell children online. If we can't meet them online, then they're gonna work with impunity. And we've stopped it. In fact, just since we set this lab up with you, with your help, we have had 32 operations successfully completed, 32 trafficking rings that are no longer in existence. And our intention is to continue to go to other countries. We also, with doTERRA, we put a similar lab in Southeast Asia, in Thailand, and we're having similar results there. So it's one of the, we love sitting down with your founders, because we sit and we think outside the box, we think strategically, and we get out in front of the problem. And it's so fun to work with such creative people, because the most creative solutions to fighting trafficking are truly coming out of our partnership with doTERRA. It is so amazing. Okay, I want to talk about a country that's very near and dear to my heart. It's the one country that I can't even delegate to another operator or another manager, and that country is Haiti. And yes, Haiti is special to me for many reasons. It was one of the main reasons that we left the government to start Operation Underground Railroad. We learned about a little boy. I think a lot of you know about him. His name is Gardy Marty. A little boy born here in Utah of Haitian descent, and he was kidnapped and trafficked in Haiti. And when I learned of this story while I was in the government, it just broke my heart, because I knew that I could multiply his pain by millions. And when I met his father, I thought of the millions of parents in the world who just happen to live in a country that's developing and that doesn't have all the tools that we have here if a child goes missing. And so we went looking for this little boy, and we haven't found him yet, but I'll tell you that we are closer than we've ever been. And I'm gonna tell you some of the things we're doing right now with your foundation, with Doterra, to find this little boy and find others in Haiti. But we went into Haiti and we identified the traffickers who took this little boy. And we identified an orphanage that was a false orphanage. And this is how they operate in some of these trafficking rings. They just establish a false orphanage and they start selling kids out of the back door for $10,000, $15,000. We found the group that had kidnapped Gardy. And we went in undercover and we liberated these 28 kids looking for little Gardy Marty. It was an amazing operation. And one of the reasons that my heart is so near and dear to Haiti is that 2 of those kids that we rescued ended up becoming my children that we adopted, and they just came home about 4 months ago. Yeah. And then we weren't done. We continued to look for this little boy. Now here's the crazy thing. We've rescued almost 100 kids on that island looking for this little boy, working together with his father, working together with you and Doterra. Now, one of the operations, you just saw Mia Love, Congressman Mia Love, you just saw Attorney General Sean Reyes. We went in, you saw a clip of an operation where he's wearing an OUR vest. I want to tell you what happened there. We went to Haiti to do another sting operation, again, looking for Gardy. We identified about 9 different trafficking rings that brought about 29 children to what they thought was a sex party on the beach in Haiti. And it was a massive operation. Everybody got arrested. We got all the evidence we needed. We got it all digitally recorded, and we were so excited. But Haiti is a dangerous place to work because some of these countries where these kids are most at risk are places where there's corruption problems. And sure enough, these traffickers who are very high-end criminals representing major criminal mafia organizations, they paid their way out of jail. And we got the word about a week or so after the operation that the bad guys were all out of jail. And it just broke our hearts. But this is where we decide, we're not gonna just quit. And we did probably the most dangerous thing we've ever done. More dangerous than any undercover operation. We employed our contingency plan. Our contingency plan was to go into the belly of the beast, go into Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and call a press conference. And in that press conference, reveal all the evidence. Because like I said, we video recorded everything. And the Rotary Club of Port-au-Prince was gonna sponsor it. But they told us, they said, guys, here's a problem. The media, they're not gonna come unless you bring someone famous that the Haitians believe is famous. And I said, well, who's on the list? I'll try to find that person. And the first person on the list, they said there's a congresswoman named Mia Love, and she's of Haitian descent. And they had no idea who I was or who I was connected to. I said, well, that's good because I only know one congressperson, and it's Mia Love. So now this is the important part. So I call Mia. By the way, Mia, huge Doterra fan. As you know, she uses all their products. Every time I go into her office, Doterra is everywhere. And I call Mia up and I say, Mia, I'm gonna ask you to do something, and my advice to you as a friend is to say no. As the CEO of OUR, I'm asking you to say yes, so you can just choose. And I told her, I said, look, I can promise safe passage to the event in downtown Port-au-Prince, but I can't promise that we'll make it out of the country alive. Because we are gonna bust out the truth on all these traffickers who now are free, and we're gonna tell the truth about corrupt officials. I don't know who they are or where they are, but they're powerful. And Mia Love put on some Doterra. I could smell it through the phone. She was putting it on, she got brave, and she said, you just tell me when and where. So we went down to Haiti, and you saw a clip of us briefing the president of Haiti after she took it to the media. And what happened was this amazing movement. And the president called us back in, and we rearrested every single one of those initial traffickers. And we've been able to rescue kids that we hadn't rescued before. And every trafficker that we go and rearrest, we're getting 3 or 4 additional ones that we didn't know existed. So we're taking it back to Haiti, we're taking it to the traffickers. And more than that, we're working on amazing aftercare efforts. Because we are rescuing so many kids that we can't rescue kids if we have nowhere to put them. And we have amazing partners in Haiti called the Rafa House. Now, unbeknownst to us, we're working with Rafa House, and Doterra is working with Rafa House. Like, it's just like light attracts light. We didn't even know, and we all came together, and I'm gonna let Rafa tell you about this amazing project that's being funded by Healing Hands and by Doterra. Unbelievable thing that's gonna continue to revolutionize Haiti in the aftercare side to make sure these kids get the care that they need. Now, I told you the hunt for Gardy is still on, and I told you that we're doing something with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You won't believe this. Again, and this, what I'm gonna tell you, this was also funded by Healing Hands, what we're doing there. So we have set up a series of medical clinics. We've located where Gardy and these kids are being trafficked. We've located where they are, and we've set up these clinics. We're using amazing DNA technology to reunite parents and children. There's so many children who have been kidnapped, and their parents are in Port-au-Prince, and the kids are out on the border, and they might as well be, living in China because it's so hard to get out there. And we are now bringing this DNA technology that's going to allow us to identify their children and at last bring them home and bring them together. So I was telling this story to one of our partners named Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? And I said, Coach, we've got to find this little boy, but not just him, but there's tens of thousands of these kids, and we've got to bring them home. And he said, well, let's go down there. So a few months ago, we went in on this operation to tour what we were doing. And he was just blown away as we flew a helicopter over the area. We landed, we went right into it, and you can just see these children. They're homeless, they're parentless, they're being abused, and we are now identifying them. And we figured things out to where the traffickers themselves are bringing the kids to us, because it's kind of an undercover situation, and we're now getting these kids, finding out who they are, and bringing them home. And who do you think funded this operation that made this first wave possible? Who was it? It was you! Healing Hands, Doterra. So keep following us, keep supporting us. This partnership is amazing what we're able to do, the good we're able to do, and all I can say is I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sorry. I get too excited when I'm with you guys, okay? And I forget important things. So that last operation that I just told you about, that Healing Hands was funded and made possible, Coach Tomlin was working with ESPN. You've all heard of ESPN, right? And they sent down a 5-man crew from ESPN to film this operation that I'm talking about. And this Monday Night Football, Steve Young was actually also behind all this. So Steve Young, this Monday, Steelers versus Tampa Bay, watch countdown. He's gonna show a clip of this operation that, again, was funded by Healing Hands, and then he's gonna lead you to watch the full thing. Now, ESPN, they do these little featurettes. They've never done one more than 3 minutes. They said, you're not gonna get more than 3 minutes. When they finished, they called me and they said, we broke the rule. It's gonna be 10 minutes. We can't cut it down. So they think they have an Emmy winner. So So stay tuned for that, and that's going to be week 4 on Sunday, ESPN. But Steve Young will announce it. Watch Steelers Tampa Bay this Monday, and it was thanks to you, and thanks to this guy, and thanks to all of you. So we love you so much. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
All right.
I don't have a favorite NFL football team, but if I did, I'm so grateful for what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing with OUR. Thank you, Tim, for your vision and your tireless efforts to eradicate sex trafficking. We are just so grateful for our association with OUR and the things that they're able to do. Tim referenced an incredible aftercare facility. Actually, it's not a facility, it's an entire aftercare campus that we're building in Haiti that's being constructed there by the Doterra Healing Hands Foundation and another one of our favorite corporate sponsors or partners. We introduced you last year to Rafa House by video. This year, we have with us Stephanie Freed, the co-founder and executive director of the Rafa House, which is an incredible organization doing some extraordinary things. Please help me welcome Stephanie Freed to the stage.
Oh, there's a lot of you. How many moms are in the arena this afternoon? Okay, I'm among many friends then. 15 years ago, this soccer mom from Missouri, I walked into a junkyard in Cambodia and I came face to face with the first child slave that I would ever meet. She was just 12 years old and she had been sold to this large extended family that owned, operated, and lived in that junkyard. And she was systematically raped throughout her enslavement because you have to understand she was just property to the people who believed that they owned her. Now, walking with that first child slave into freedom, it changed my life forever. The work of Rafa House was born because of that one child slave. And since that time, 15 years ago, thousands of lives have been impacted and changed. But the statistics are staggering. UNICEF estimates that every single year, another 1 million children are disappearing into slavery globally. That's every year. Another 1 million vulnerable, unprotected children disappearing into slavery, exploitation, and abuse. And the problem with a statistic like this is that it can render us into complete inaction, because after all, what in the world can we do about millions of children living in slavery today? But my friends, I have great news for you because this is where you come in. I want to tell you some really, really great news about child injustice. The cavalry has arrived. And I'm talking about all of you and the Doterra Healing Hands Foundation. Because of you, we are ready to escalate the war against child slavery in Haiti. I want you to know that Haiti has one of the largest per capita populations of children living in slavery today. 4 years ago, we at Rafa House, we moved into Haiti and we began a small safe house project with a big vision to be part of a cultural shift and change in child protection there. And in this very short time, we have been able to develop game-changing relationships with government entities and other organizations who share our same vision, and we've already seen huge progress in child protection. And I just want to say, Tim, you and the OUR team, you are heroes to us. Yeah. Aftercare for child victims of slavery and sexual exploitation absolutely would not be possible without those who literally run to the dark and dangerous places to conduct rescue on behalf of these children. Rafa House is thankful for your incredible work, OUR. I want you to know that the plight of a child slave in Haiti is devastating. These children are seen as less than human. They are abused in every way imaginable. Jenny was only 12 years old when she came to Rafa House, when she was rescued and brought to our safe house after surviving many devastating years as a child slave. And in the very first week that Jenny was with us, she was taken for her medical exam. And it was there that we learned that Jenny was pregnant with twins. Now, Jenny, just a 12-year-old child herself, decided that she wanted to parent her babies. And so the house mothers, the social workers, the counselors of Rafa House just surrounded that child with love and support. And we began to help Jenny make a plan for her future, which would include her twin sons. Now, walking with Jenny on a path to emotional healing and preparing Jenny's family, who's also living in desperate and dire poverty, which was a jumping off place for her enslavement, that's going to require years and years of investment for Rafa House. But that's okay, because that's what we do. After all, Jenny is one in a million. She is one child in a million who will not disappear into slavery this year. Yes, how are we going to combat millions of children living in slavery? We're going to combat it one child at a time. I wonder if you know what you've done. You're going to change the lives of so many children in Haiti. Through this beautiful new Safe House campus, which the Doterra Healing Hands Foundation is providing for Rafa House in Haiti, we are going to take great strides forward in the protection for child survivors while working alongside government entities and organizational sectors, because we want to end slavery so that children can live safely in their own communities in freedom for generations to come. I want to tell you a little bit about this campus that you're building. So high walls and round-the-clock security are going to stand in protection of our girls as they begin the difficult and dangerous journey of prosecution. The administration building is going to be a safe place for the Rafa staff to work and combat child injustice. While they're with us, we want every one of our girls to feel like they're part of a family, like they belong. And so in the residential area of the campus, we're building it neighborhood style with several cottages where the girls will live. And each of these beautiful cottages will be fully staffed and provide a home for 8 to 10 child survivors. And one of these cottages, this very special cottage, will be specifically for our mothers with babies. It's gonna be awesome. Now, the expansive grounds of this campus are being designed with lots and lots of places for our girls to run and play and to dance. The Rafa girls in Haiti love to dance. We want them to regain those childhoods that had been stolen from them. And in preparing our girls to have a sustainable freedom in their future and just empowerment for their own futures, there will be an education building in the neighborhood alongside a counseling and art therapy center. And the very best part, designed to take in the beautiful mountain views which are going to feed the soul, is the kitchen and dining hall, where once malnourished and broken bodies are going to be fed and they're going to become healthy. Yeah. Today, we have a message for the enslaved children of Haiti, for the thousands and thousands of Haitian children living in slavery today, for all of those who believe that they have been forgotten, that nobody is coming for them, that their day of rescue is never going to arrive. Today, we have a message for those children, and here it is. We see you. We are coming for you. We believe that your life has meaning and value and purpose, and we declare that you are precious to us. Thank you, Doterra Healing Hands Foundation, for the investment that you are making in freedom and hope for the children all around the world. The Calvary has arrived.
Thank you, Stephanie. We are so pleased to participate with the Rafa House in this fight against human trafficking by offering the comfort to these innocent victims and survivors of human trafficking through the building of this amazing aftercare compound in Haiti. Someday I need to tell you the story of how the Healing Hands Foundation connected with Rafa House. We're trying to narrow down an aftercare list of possible partners that we could join with, and the name Rafa House on a piece of paper just stuck out. I flew to Joplin, Missouri, and walked in almost cold and said, I think there's something we're supposed to do together here, and boy, is there. Another item of note is that a Healing Hands and Rafa House Service project has been going on during the convention. Have any of you been part of that? Some of you? It's a project to assemble 1,000 backpacks for children that have been rescued from human trafficking. So it started with the Doterra employees coloring the beads and sewing pillowcases before convention to help prepare for the project here. Most of the rescued children, believe it or not, have never even owned a pillow of their own. So then you, our wellness advocates, you're decorating these pillowcases, you're making a photo tag and a card for the outside of the backpack, you're assembling a beaded zipper pull before filling the backpack with the items you see on the screen here that people need for aftercare, such as personal hygiene products, lip balm, hope oil. I think there's a journal and some colored pencils and a coloring book and such things, fuzzy socks, sunglasses, all the things that little girls would like and need as they're trying to rehabilitate and heal from that awful experience. And our partner, Rafa House, will be supplying these pillows for the cases, and then we'll distribute the backpacks at their aftercare centers. Now, thank you. For 10 years, I want to close on this note. For 10 years, Doterra has been putting CPTG, certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils, into hands and homes and communities around the world, as you know, thereby empowering individuals and communities to promote health and wellness for themselves and for their loved ones. Together, we truly are making a difference. I think you can see that. You enable us to reach more people and expand into more countries, projects, programs through the donations you make. You can continue to help us by donating $10 right now, $1 for each of doTERRA's 10 years of giving. To donate $10 right now to the Healing Hands Foundation, everyone get out your cell phones, and if you'll text the word EMPOWER to the number 27722, this will automatically be billed through your phone carrier on your monthly bill. Now, I experienced a little glitch myself trying to do it. I think if you previously, when you set it up and you blocked the ability to add on charges, it may block you initially, but most of you should be able to get through. Think about it for a minute. If each of the 30,000 plus convention attendees does this today, we'll be able to raise $300,000 for the foundation. And doTERRA has generously agreed to match whatever funds are raised during convention using this method. So please join us in raising funds for the Healing Hands Foundation. Text the word EMPOWER to 27722 to donate $10. Now, I'd like to turn some time over to someone to discuss another great project we're involved with. Please help me welcome back to the stage doTERRA founding executive, chairman, CEO, and my friend, David Sterling.
How is everybody? Hasn't it been an amazing day so far? This is one of my favorite days. We get to talk about just really fun, cool, heart-grabbing stuff. And what you need to understand is we only have time to catch a few highlights. There's so many amazing things happening around the world now, so many projects. So I get to take just a few minutes and kind of introduce a little bit of the next one. 2 years ago, almost to this day, I met an amazing person. Some of you were here back then, and from Rwanda. And I want to share, and we're going to get to hear from her in just a moment. And I'll mention a little more about that in a sec here. But if you'll remember, we talked about what was happening in Rwanda, and you're going to get the whole story on that. But I wanted to share with you a little bit about a project that's been going on there for the last couple of years. Now, Mark just mentioned some of that. Up in beautiful Rwanda, where it's eternally spring, it never changes. I think it's about 75 degrees year-round, it seems like. There's a little place called Gibeho, and there's a school up there that has about 650 kids. It's one of the poorest areas. It's a boarding school. It's run by 4 wonderful Catholic nuns who have dedicated their lives to this. We have just, my wife and I have been there twice, representing doTERRA and our efforts there. You met Immaculée Ilibagiza here a couple of years ago. Some of you did. You're going to get a chance to hear from her in a minute. She has an amazing story. She's impacted people all over the world. This picture you're seeing right now is mostly her new family, and that they kind of formed together. And we have gotten to know this family. Fantastic, amazing people. Rwanda is a beautiful country. It's the most densely populated country in Africa on people per square mile. Very poor from a GDP standpoint, but I'm just going to say not poor in heart. An amazing place. It's actually looked upon now as one of the safest countries in all of Africa. You won't find a scrap of paper on the ground there. You won't. Not like you'll see trash in some other countries sometimes that are piled up. You will not see that at all. It's just amazing and how the pride that people take in what they have with so little. Doterra started on this school, building this school, this dorm, with these kids. If you ever visited this place, the facilities were deplorable. The bathrooms, what they did have was little kind of holes in the ground for these kids. They were all stopped up, completely done. The stench was horrific. The dorms that the kids are in, it's about 75% girls in this school, and the dorms that they're in are just not good. All the girls have their heads shaved. If it weren't for the fact that they were wearing skirts, it'd be hard to tell them from the boys, but that's for hygiene purposes. Showers that are taken there are with a bucket. They'll come with one small bar of soap to last the entire year, and so they'll take and they'll just use as little as possible when they do try to get clean. And we were there, I can't remember now, it wasn't that long ago, but I lose all track of time, earlier this year, I think it was April or something, and had that group of kids together, and we have a fantastic architect, and they're building a earthquake resistant structure. This dorm is gonna have 3 floors, and there's gonna be a total of 4 of these eventually, and each one of these have showers and flushing toilets on each floor. But when we shared this with the kids, they went crazy. I mean, it was just such an amazing experience. This picture here is just the beginnings of this project, and laying the foundations for the first dormitory. They've made some great progress. This next picture here, actually, we went out there and introduced Days for Girls and the monthly hygiene things and did the training, and once again, it was just a fantastic opportunity. Immaculate participated in that training with these girls also. This is a school that is structured for 12 to 18-year-olds is the age of the kids there. The arts that they do on their own time in terms of dance and stuff is some of the best that you'll ever see. The teachers, the faculty, so dedicated. Built a new barn to move their cows and chickens over into so that we could start to put this first structure in place. And I got a short little video I'm going to have them run now that shows how they actually build this. Little more effort there than what we do in the States, isn't there? They don't have the cement trucks and the big pump trucks. What's fascinating to me is each one of those things weighs about 50 pounds, right? And these guys will do that all day long, very labor intensive, this structure. This picture was actually taken a few months ago. The first dormitory is completely finished, and they've started on the second one. And it's well underway at this point. What fascinated me is they work so hard, and yet when they got to the last part of this first dorm, and they're actually putting the roof on, these guys have been working all day long, super hard, and yet this became a very celebratory moment. I'm going to have them play another little short video here, show a little bit of this. Maybe. It's late in the day. These guys are getting very excited. I wish I had more time to show you more because they get really excited. They're running back and getting more and just so excited to get that last pour done with that roof. And the people of Rwanda just amaze me. Their president is fantastic with the values that he teaches. And over the last 2 years, Immaculée Ilibagiza has become a dear friend of Doterra, personally of my wife and I, and the effort that she makes to change the world and impact the world. In fact, the reason that she's here today is because she's got to catch a plane and go back to Europe tomorrow. She shares her message all over the world, and she has had a tremendous impact all over the world. I'll also mention that the president of Rwanda makes her book, Left to Tell, required reading for members of his military. Thank you. And it's because he wants them to remember. It's because he wants them to remember. Immaculée is an amazing person, a truly amazing human being that is very real in what she is and what she does. And with that, I want to welcome Immaculée Ilibagiza to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is really a great joy to be back at Doterra's conference, because since 2 years ago, I feel like I have been a family member. And thank you. I cannot tell you how I thank you. I thank David and his wife and the founders of Doterra, all of you, for what you have done. The lives you have changed since I came here last time. The school you just saw, I saw them about 7 months before I came to speak here, and I knew the school existed, and we knew that school as the most poorest school in the country. And we used to laugh as children, like, oh my God, how do they do it? They wake up and go to get water and come back to the school to study. They didn't have the running water. And there have been some supernatural event we're told about the school. If you have heard about Lourdes in France and Fatima in Portugal, Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico, there is something like that have happened in the school where the mother of our Lord Jesus Christ was reported to have visited 3 kids in that school. So it was a famous school, but it was always one of the poorest school. The nuns have founded it among few schools in Rwanda so that they can help the poor kids who couldn't find money to go to other schools. Then a boarding school, most of them can't even find a way to study when they were home. So the nuns will go after those families, the kids who were doing good, who can study, but who didn't have enough means to go to school. So 7 months before I met you, I went to visit the school, which was always closed. But somehow one day, I was visiting with friends from the US, and we saw the door open. We went inside, and we saw a nun working. We asked her if we can visit, and she made us visit the school. And I asked them, how come nobody comes in? And many people come to this area because of what have happened in the school. So she said she doesn't know. No one comes to visit the school. So she showed us. I mean, in papers, it's known. But when we visited, the bathrooms were bad. They were really broken down. And most of them were completely full, smelling. We went to visit the dormitory in a place like this. There's like 200 kids sleeping together, mattress after mattress, on the bunk beds. It was just not good conditions they were living in. And I remember they welcomed me in their office. I asked them, so how much money you have like in account of the poor so we can put something and leave some money? They looked at each other. They told me, we have $18. For how many kids? Like who couldn't even pay school fees? That is just to buy them toothbrush, soap. They looked at each other again. They said, maybe 200 kids. And I remember crying and saying, I'm going to help you. We're going to find a way. And there are many good people in the world. And I was scared inside. Who is going to do it? Who am I going to talk to? But God will guide me. Fast forward, I kept raising money here and there, but then I came to speak here. And I remember the founders of Doterra asked if we can speak. We spoke about the school. They asked me how much it was needed to repair. I'm not an architect. I really don't even know how much, but I knew it was a lot. This is about 1,000 kids who are living in that place, and where they sleep, where they cook, the bathrooms, everything is just bad. So after that talk, a few weeks later, David called me, and he asked me if I can take him and his wife to go to visit. And I was thinking, I mean, it's a lot, but it's okay, I can take them. That's very nice, they want to make all this trip to go there. I remember when we spoke on the phone, I told myself, even if I don't help the school, I want these people to be my friends who have this good heart. This is like my dad's brother or my older brother, but these just kind people who speak like this with faith and kindness. So we went to Rwanda, we loved them. My brother's friends, we made them. They wanted just to hang out with them and want to drink with them. But they don't drink. And they were just in a hurry to get to the school. But we loved them. So we went to the school. I will never forget the interaction we had with David and his wife and the nuns. They make them visit the school, and they wanted to see more and more. I'm like, maybe you don't have to see everything because it's so bad. If you can just help them a little bit. Like, no, we want to see where the bathrooms exactly. And David is working in the bathroom that are filled up with bad. I'm like, don't go there. It's like, no, it's okay, let me go there. I'm like, who are you? He's smelling and we don't want to go. And he checked everything. He wanted to find out where the teachers were living. And I'm asking, like, you don't want to get involved. It's really expensive to do all this. And I remember we sat together, and you can feel the compassion in his eyes and his wife. And they told the nuns, they asked about how the kids study, how the kids practice their faith, which they pray every single day. There are people, even if it's a Catholic school, in the school, there are kids from different religion. And Sunday, there will be a pastor for Protestant, priest for Catholics, pastors for Adventists. Everyone will go to pray as they pray in their faith. So after we spoke, I remember David said, I'm going to talk to my friends, my co-workers, my co-founders of Doterra, and we will speak to Doterra people, and I'm sure they will do something. I remember the nuns were just crying, and these are the people who don't like to show emotions, but they knew, and they told them, no matter what, we don't know what the reaction of everyone will be, but we are not going to leave this school to be like this. Nobody deserves to live like this. And it has been a miracle. This is an answer to prayer. But what is more important is the kindness they continue to show the school. One condition I remember David told the nuns, he said, all we are asking, because they are used to people maybe who come and say, if you do this, then we'll do this for you. And it's like, what do you want us to do? You want to help us this much. What do you want us to do? All he asked was, continue to help the poor kids. Don't let the school be the school for the rich. Continue to do what you have done and what you do. I'm really happy to have met them personally. I wanted that school to be helped, and I didn't know how to do it, even if I've given my word. This is not my school. This is a school I love, as we love kids everywhere. I am so grateful for what you do. I'm grateful for what Doterra does, for the founders who are so kind and continue to promote kindness and love and human values. Thank you so much for what you do. So last time I was here 2 years ago, I shared my story how I survived the genocide. I have learned many lessons through that terrible experience. It is maybe those lessons that had me care for that school. It is those lessons that have me today happy in be able to come to speak to you. Love, forgiveness, and faith. My faith got stronger through my experience, and I would like to show you a video of the background of what brought me there, so then I will share a little bit about my story. I was born in Rwanda. Rwanda is a tiny country located in the Central Africa. It was, and still is, one of the most beautiful places in the world. Very green and perfect tropical weather. My village was in Kibuye. Our house was on a hill that overlooked Lake Kivu. My mom and dad were teachers. They were very good parents who were very respected in the village. In my family, we were 4 children. I was one girl among 3 boys. We loved each other a lot. We were very protective until the last time we separated.
There was a rebellion going on, an ethnically based rebellion in Rwanda.
Right after the holiday, I had an exam, really an important exam.
The regime in Rwanda that was responsible for the genocide was a criminal regime. It operated according to the logic of criminal gangs.
So I wrote to my parents and I told them I wanted to stay in school to prepare for my exam.
And the aim of the military dictatorship was to preserve power by eliminating that rebellion.
My father said, "We miss you, and you have been away so much, away from us." So I went home. Easter vacation that year changed everything in my life. The president's plane was shut down and the genocide began.
The 2 leaders died after attending peace talks aimed at ending decades of tribal conflict in the 2 countries. President Habyarimana of Rwanda and President Ntaryamira of Burundi were killed when their plane came down near the Rwandan capital, Kigali. Both were members of the majority Hutu tribe.
When the president's plane was shot down, it just was chaos. Within less than an hour, you started to hear the gunfire in your own neighborhood, right up close to you. Before, it was always kind of far away, and it's like it just spread everywhere.
It was a very well-organized program of genocide. It had been established before the plane went down, and it was just waiting for this event or an event like it to click into motion.
These people had lists. They had lists of people that had to be killed, and then it became crazy.
And I remember my father telling me, "We are worried that you might get raped, and we are worried that we can't help you."
They were going home to home, neighborhood to neighborhood, breaking down doors, hacking people to death. Some of the names of Tutsis were being broadcast on the radio.
When I saw Immaculée back in her own home area, and she says to the photographer, hey, come and take a picture of me with this man. And I'm asking her, who's this man? And she explains to me, well, his brother killed my brother. And I'm like, wait, you know, my Western mind is kicking in and I gotta understand who, what, the details and stuff. And she just puts her arm around him and she says, no, it's okay, it's okay. I just about lost it because it's not okay. You read in the powerful little museum here in Kigali, a young Rwandan child saying, if you would have really known me for who I was, you could have never killed me. When I think about heroes here in Rwanda, I think about people like Immaculée who are willing now to share what life is like, going back, touching on it, exploring it. For her to take the time and to visit these places with people like us and let us share in some of that grief and some of that process takes unimaginable courage.
I did hate, of course. I was very angry. During the bathroom time, I couldn't understand how another human being can cause you so much pain. Why? We were all created. We never chose to be who we become. We don't choose our race. We don't choose our tribe. We don't even choose a country where we are born. And I thought that I can pay them back for what they were doing to me. And thank God, I was able to see that that was useless. That was only going to prolong the pain and hatred in this world. I hid in this tiny bathroom for 91 days, and they never found me. But I found myself. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. You can imagine how much I feel touched for the good you do, because I remember during the genocide thinking, it seems like hatred have conquered. It seems like good people, where are they? And since the time especially have started to speak, I meet so many kind people. And it's almost like God is saying, you see, I told you, there are many good people out there. And I'm so grateful again for what you do. Yeah. So, like many terrible things that happen to us, they make us stronger if we really pay attention. I learned so many lessons I would never have learned in a normal time. And one of the big lessons was to understand the importance of love. If our Lord told us to love one another, that it was the greatest commandment, it really is. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. When I look back to what happened to us, it's really because we failed to love one another that the genocide happened to us, that 1 million people died. It was lack of love among people. So that teaches me that only thing you can do that is worthwhile, that can build the world, is loving one another. That was, oh, thank you. Huge lesson. Another big lesson was to understand that forgiveness was possible and how important that is. That was my gift. It saved my life. I still remember when I was angry, and I thought I had a good reason to be angry. Who wouldn't be when they're trying to kill you, killing your parents? But I'm hurting. I had a headache out of anger. I had a stomachache out of anger, but I didn't know how to let it go. Until I went through that process, and I can still remember when I felt forgiveness in my heart. It was like understanding forgiveness. It felt like peace. It felt like freedom. Another big lesson I learned, it was actually maybe a grace of God to understand without a shadow of doubt that God is real. There is superpower behind us. And it was just, oh, thank you. Only those who have faith can say all things are possible. As human, we are limited. But to be able to have hope no matter what and to keep going, it's really a treasure to have. And it only can come from faith. And of course, you work and you're willing to continue to go on. So as you saw in the documentary, the genocide started in 1994. I was a student in a college, and I was home for Easter holiday when it started. I still remember the morning it started. My brother came to my room. He had on a jacket, a stick in his hand, and he told me the president of the country died that morning. And he said, "You are still sleeping." I jumped out of the bed, I went outside, and we met my parents. We were listening to the radio to find out what was going on in the country. It was terrible, and what was going on was, in Rwanda we had two main tribes. And the tribe that was on power have decided to kill the other tribe. And what was behind it was to really have the power, more power, not to divide it. People didn't hate each other because they were different tribes to a point of wanting to kill each other. But the government thought that was the way to hold on to their power, and they have started it. We knew it can happen. We had a private radio, you saw in the documentary, where the journalists, they used to act, they were drunk for a year and a half like that. And they would say things like, "We will kill them one day." So we kind of knew it can happen, but how do you get up and start killing people for doing nothing? So I remember we heard on radio, and I remember 2 hours after, BBC Radio reported 18 families that were killed. Mom and dad and 5 children, 8 children. I still remember my dad, who was actually a teacher, and my mom were teachers. My dad thinking, and he said, "This never happened before, where they killed a whole family." But that's why they call it a genocide. It was literally the attempt to eliminate the whole group. That's why they were killing children. And then we had many people coming home. By the second day, we had about 10,000 people to the door of my parents, to the soccer field where my mom was a teacher next door to our home. And people were coming home because my parents were really people who cared about the village. They practiced their faith to the letter. I still remember the things we spoke on our dinner table were a family that is having trouble, neighbors, and how dad should go to speak to that family and mom can go to the other family. Somebody who is sick, who don't have money to go to see a doctor, how they can try to find a doctor or money. And as children, we didn't care much about that. We wanted to buy new clothes. And my parents were always thinking about the next person they can help. But when I saw people coming home, I remember thinking, they know they love them. I didn't even think people can know that. It really left something for me that love can actually touch people, even if they were not speaking about it loudly. Then I remember one of the last second, I separated my parents, my dad was speaking to people and loud who were running to him. He said, if it is a matter of a small group that want to hurt us, do not be scared. We will defeat them. Fear is our worst enemy. And then he said, but if it is a government that planned this, I cannot lie to you. They will kill us. They have the police, they have the military, and they block the borders of the country. And he said, even if it was them, let's not be scared. Let's take this as a chance God is giving us to repent our sins, to reconcile among us, so we can go to heaven. I remember thinking, Dad, you don't tell people they're going to die. You tell them how to run. But actually, people did listen, and everyone was quiet. I was doing the same, thinking about anything I could have said, done, not right in the eyes of God, just in case I die. I remember after that, my father came to me. He handed me a rosary he had in his hand. I come from a Catholic family, and I am Catholic. And he asked me to go to hide. And the tribe was not about religion. He was speaking to people from different religions. He asked me to go to hide to a neighbor who was from the other tribe and who was a good man. I remember my brother told him, Dad, you're sending him from somebody from the other tribe. If things go bad, they will kill her. And my father said, I know that man. Even if things go bad, he will not be able to kill. My father used to tell us, don't judge people and put them in the boxes because they come from that place, that tribe, that race, that area, that country. He said, always open your heart. Thank you. Thank you. He used to tell us, judge people as they do to you. They present themselves to you after they have done something that disappoints you. He said, if you judge people and put them in the boxes, you will miss out many angels in your life because you don't know who God is going to send you when you need it most. And you would have judged them. And I am truly here because my father was able to trust somebody from the other tribe and made him a friend, and he was a good man. And I remember when I was leaving, I never had visions that you can say for sure God spoke to me. I try to listen to God as you do. And many times we know God have spoken to us afterwards, when you look back and say, that was God. I remember when I was leaving, it was like a voice in my heart was telling me, look at your family, take the last picture, say bye. This is it. You will never see them again. And I fought with myself, no, this is our village. This is where we come from. I'm going to see them. And I will make a step to go to the neighbor where my father sent me. The same voice will come. Take a good look. This is it. You will never see them again. I literally stopped, looked at them as I'm looking at you now, and feeling, okay, this is my last. To this day, when I miss my parents, I think of that picture. I still remember where my mom was standing, my dad was standing, my brothers, my neighbors. It was actually the last time I saw them. I went to the neighbor, and I told him what my father told me, to come there. I remember he put me to sit in a tiny bathroom, 3 by 4 feet. And when I went there, I thought, this is too small for me. How can I sit here? I mean, where do I sleep? When I think about it, 3 days before that, I was a student in a college. I had a scholarship. I was paid to go to school. I had my parents and a room in my parents' house, and I thought life was perfect. Now I'm in a bathroom 3 by 4 feet. Well, as I was complaining, the man came back with 5 more women. Later, he came back with 2 more women. We were 8 people in 3 by 4 feet. It really taught me another big lesson. When you think things are bad, they can get worse. And what that taught me is not to scare us, like things can just get bad. What it taught me was complaining does not help. You can blame the past. You can You can say, how did I get here? How that person can do this? How this can happen? It does not help. But if you take what you have now and try to see what can I do from here, then you can truly do something about it. But complaining did not help. So with 8 of us, we had to find a place to sit. We literally had to sit on top of each other. The youngest was 7 years old. The older was 55. The man was able to bring us food, and the food he could afford was the leftovers of his children. Not that he wanted to give us that, but that's what he could afford. The food we threw in a garbage, and he would bring one plate and give us 8 of us. I had to close my eyes, my nose, to be able to eat what they have mashed in their mouth, and that was in a garbage. At the end of the week, I thought I have had it. I had anger in my heart. I thought if I came out, I would be a soldier. I would revenge my family, my tribe. I would think about things I can do. I mean, when you're angry, you can be very creative. You think about things you can't really do in person, but you thought about them. I thought I would be a soldier, I would fly planes, and I would throw grenades all over the country and blow up everybody. And then I would go through that, and then I would start again. I was exhausted with my anger. I would be sweating out of anger. My heart would be beating just because of bad thoughts in my head. I literally remember thinking, how am I going to deal with this? I'm the one hurting, but I can't do anything about it. So the man came to give us food at the end of the week one time, and I remember I grabbed him. I thought I was dying anyway, and I asked him if he can put a radio outside of the bathroom. He was kind. He put 3 radios, different channels. I couldn't believe what was going on in the country. The leaders of the country who used to tell us to be good to one another, to respect the law, they were calling everyone to kill everyone of my tribe. I remember one man said, who was a government minister, he said, don't forget children. A child of a snake is a snake. And don't forget elder people. They reported people they killed in stadiums, in churches, and then they gave order to start looking in homes to see if anyone was hiding. You think it was bad to hide for 1 week and be in one place, but to think that somebody was coming to look for you, it was the worst pain I have felt. It didn't take long. They came to our bathroom. I was stretching, to our house. I was stretching. I saw them through the window of the bathroom. And I fell over the ladies. I felt so much pain. The only reasonable thing that was going through my mind was, they found us. I'm going to die. How is it going to happen? How are they going to shoot me from the back? My soul is going to come out? Am I going to meet Jesus? Am I going to see Mary? Who am I going to see after this? But it was painful to wait for them. It was a 4-bedroom house. It wasn't any place you can hide anywhere except waiting. They went all over. I felt like 1,000 needles were going through my mind, my body. And then I started to feel like I had over 2 voices. Nothing too strange, like the voices you feel when you are going through a challenge. And one voice was telling me, open the door, end the torture. It's too painful. It sounded like me being reasonable. Why wait when they're going to find you anyway? But another voice was telling me, don't open the door. Ask God to help you. Remember who God is. God is almighty. Remember what almighty means? Thank you. It means he can do anything. Do you know what anything means? It means even if they find you, they might not be able to see you, if God wants. So you still have a chance to continue to pray. Don't give up. And I remember in a split of a second, I had to choose what voice to listen to. The one that says, give up, or the one that says, continue to pray, don't open the bathroom. I remember looking towards a nicer voice in my heart, and I asked God, if there is anyone who created me, if there is anyone who made all this, the moon, the stars, the sun, this earth I'm standing on, I am begging you, don't let the killers find us just today. I know many good people die, but at least if I die, I will die knowing there is something behind this. Don't let them find us just today. After I said that, I fainted. And before I fainted, I asked God. Before I asked him a specific sign, I said, don't let them open the door of the bathroom. Because you can still hide us, and even if they found us, they might not kill us if you want. But I don't want to look in their faces. Don't let them open the door of the bathroom. After I asked, I fainted, and I didn't hear anything. Until about 5 hours later, the man who was hiding us, he came to the bathroom. We thought it was the killers. I jumped, and he told us what happened. He said there were 300 to 400 people. They made a big circle around the house so no one jumps out of the window. Another number went in the ceiling of the house, on the roof of the house, in every room, under the beds. They even opened suitcases to make sure there was no babies hiding. At last, he told us they went right to the door of the bathroom. Before the man pulls one of the killers, he told the man who was hiding us, you know what? We trust you. You are a good man. You can't hide these bad people. You are one of us. And he turned around and he left. Thank you. When he told us that, what shocked me was not, oh, fine, we survived. What shocked me was, oh my God, God is real. God heard me in the bathroom. And I didn't speak. I only thought in my heart, God can be everywhere, just like we heard in the church. God can hear us. It was really good news to know that he heard me, he's real for sure. And I remember saying, I will never doubt your existence again. I might not know everything, but for sure, this happened because of you. I will try to find more about you, to understand you. But there was something a little bit scary. I thought, if God can hear me when I don't speak, that means he can hear everything I'm thinking about. Ooh. And then I thought, we don't have any privacy. I mean, I started to speak to him like I'm talking to you. I'm like, well, you know everything anyway. So, this is what is going on. They're trying to kill us. I know you know I'm angry, and I know you don't like anger, but I have a good reason. So I will be like explaining myself to God because I know he doesn't like anger. But how do you deal with that? I felt like God was almost pushing me, pray. Now that you know for sure I'm here, pray. That's what I'm asking. What does the Bible ask us? Pray unceasingly. I took the rosary my father gave me. I asked the man to give me the Bible, and I started to pray. Reading the Bible, trying to understand the whole story. Why are we here? Why did you create us? Why are we in trouble? I felt like all the answers were coming to my heart, and actually I can see them in the Bible. I created you because I wanted to love you and shower you with affection. So what am I supposed to do? Why are we in trouble? Because I gave you directions to love one another, to be honest, and it was not followed. That's why these bad things follows bad things. When people don't love, don't care for one another, don't forgive one another. That's why this is happening. I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do now? Read again and also practice that. So where do we go after this? There is heaven and there is hell. It's up to you. What do you want to choose? I didn't want to look at hell. I wanted to look at heaven. Oh, by the way, I really encourage you to read about heaven. It's a paradise forever and ever. No more getting sick. No more getting older. Everything is just perfect. And I remember thinking, why do I care about this life on earth more than this big eternity that would be much nicer? The more I thought about it, I wanted to know now, how can I get there? And I started to pray the rosary from morning until night. The rosary is like the summary of the New Testament. Every bead tells you what prayer to say, and that's what I was doing. So one of the prayer of the rosary is Our Lord's Prayer. Many, of course, Christians do say, Our Lord's Prayer, He taught us how to pray. I remember that prayer, I said it about 200 times, every single day. But anytime I reached to this part that said, forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us, I felt like I was lying to God. And yet I needed Him so much. But how do I keep lying to Him, knowing that He can hear me inside now, and yet I know I want Him? You don't call somebody a friend if you are lying to them. And you will not keep a friend if they are lying to you, and you know they are lying to you. So God knows I'm lying to Him. I'm going to lose Him? No, I need Him. And then I said, what should I do? Because I can't mean it. I don't forgive them and I hate them. Well, I had a better idea. I started to skip that part of the prayer. Because I didn't know how you can forgive somebody trying to kill you. I felt much better. Now that I was not lying to God, I felt we're on good terms. So I kept praying that way, skipping it until one day, I remember I was about to skip it, and I felt like somebody was nodding on my shoulders and reminding me, hey, I hope you know our Lord's Prayer is not man-made. It's Jesus Himself who gave those words. The one you believe is God. The one you believe cannot make a mistake. The one you believe knows the past and the future. Thank you. If I were you, I wouldn't try to edit His prayer. I'm like, you know, when we listen to God, He really put everything in our hearts. He can correct us, but we need to give that time. And I said, you're right, but how do I do this now? How do I forgive? How do I make it make sense? For the first time, I understood the meaning of surrendering. I went on my knees, put my hands up, and I begged God, if you know how to forgive in my situation, help me out. I don't know how to. If you say so, it must be so. You are God, I'm only human. I make mistakes, you don't. So if you say so, I will do. I'm ashamed to say this. I'm Catholic. It could have been the Pope who have given that prayer. I would have said, maybe he didn't know I will go through this. Maybe he didn't know this can happen to me. And I would have said, well, but what do you tell God? He does not make a mistake. And all of a sudden I realized, if I can trust God and trust that He can protect me in that bathroom, why can't I trust Him to change my heart and do what He wants me to be? I ask Him, help me. Thank you. I put back the whole prayer. I never knew God would ever find a way to make me forgive somebody who's trying to kill me and maybe who have killed my family. But I kept praying, and this time I was willing. If you find a way, help me out. Well, be careful of what you pray for. I will never forget, I was thinking about a part of the rosary, which is when our Lord was dying on the cross. I thought about everything He went through, and I remember what took me by surprise when He said, forgive them, Father. They don't know what they do. It wasn't the first part, forgive them. By this time, I truly wanted to forgive, but how? It was the second part that changed everything. It was like an answer I was looking for. When you are looking for 1 + 2 is what? You don't know. 1 + 2, all of a sudden you get it. It's 3. It was like that. They don't get it. People who are, they don't know what they do. How can you tell me that somebody who is killing a child, they calling a child an enemy, they don't know what they do? That was it. It was like almost all of a sudden, the world was divided in 2 parts. And I realized that there was a part of love and a part of hate. On a part of love, there are people like Mother Teresa, people like Gandhi, Mandela, people we know, people like you who stand up for peace, for love. And on the side of hate was people like Hitler, those who were causing the genocide, me who was wanting to revenge. And I felt like Jesus was asking me, who do you admire most? Mandela, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, or Hitler? And of course, I admire these people, the nice ones. And guess what? I realized that the people on the side of love, they have known hatred, they have known injustice, but no matter what happens to them, they stand up for peace, for love, for kindness, for truth, for justice. Because they know how it hurts to go through what they went through. So they will defend that. And all of a sudden, I knew where I wanted to stand. I moved in my heart and I wanted to stand with Mother Teresa. I felt like a huge luggage was lifted from my shoulders. I wasn't angry anymore. I felt like my whole body was free. I couldn't think of the killers anymore with anger and wanting to kill them, but I wanted them to change, even if it means to go to prison. But they need to change. I wanted to pray for them, and I realized they're also the children of God. How much God must be hurting for them. Thank you. It was a new day. I felt so happy. And then I felt, this is it. I felt like maybe this is why I was here. We ended up staying in that bathroom for 3 months. 3 months later, the bad guys who were killing, they ran away from the country, and that's how we were able to come out. A group of people from my tribe who were refugees outside, and people from the other tribe who were against the genocide, they were able to fight to capture the country, and that's how we came out. The very first night, I was hoping that maybe somebody in my family is still hiding. But the very first night, I was in the refugee camp. I found out everybody I left behind was killed. My mom was killed, my dad, my 2 brothers, my grandma, my grandpa, my neighbors, my schoolmates. Everything we owned was destroyed and burned out. 1 million people was killed in a period of 3 months, and everywhere was dead bodies. I remember crying and wanted just to die. What do you do when something like that happens? As I'm screaming and trying to forget about all the prayers I said, I felt like there was like a giant hand of God in my chest, and something was reminding me, don't die, don't crash. I am with you. Remember me in the bathroom? The journey of your loved ones is over here on earth, but not in heaven. And your journey is not over yet. It might be one more day, 1 year, 1 week, 10 years, 50, 60 years, 80, whatever that is, however, only me knows, not you. What is yours is the choice you make every moment of your life. You can choose to be kind. Thank you. Or you can choose to be mean. You can choose to be loving or bad, hateful. But if you choose love, if you choose kind, if you choose compassion, whatever you need, I am on your side. Ask me, I will give it to you. I literally knew in that moment, I don't know how long I'm going to live. It can be that day. And truly, nobody among us knows how long we'll be. What is ours? The choice we make in every moment we are still awake. I woke up and I started to go around the refugee camp, trying to see who I can give a hand to help who needed me. Just in case I die, at least that day I can say, I have done something good, because it felt like it was the only thing that mattered. There were women who have lost all their children, husbands, family. One lady who couldn't remember what day it was, have lost her mind. And I felt like God was saying, go sit beside her. Just listen to her. We were sleeping on the ground. We didn't have food. It wasn't something you can give a lot or anything much. But I felt like God was saying, if you pay attention to her, you just listen with love, you would have done what you had to do today. You would have loved that person. I would go around that lady, listen to her, pay attention with love. And when I was done, I felt like I did my part that day. Like I loved somebody by just offering my attention. There was somebody who had, many people who had open wound machete. And I felt like God was saying, you want to love somebody today? Go ask that child how they feel. Touch and feel how they feel. Show them that you care. If you have done that, you would have done all you can. Every evening, I would take my rosary, look to the sky. We were sleeping outside in the open, and I would pray to God and just tell him, if you choose to take me, I have done my part. And that is really what I think God is asking of us. Every single day I wake up in the morning, I hope I can use my life for something beautiful. Use my life to touch another human being. Love heals. When you care for another person, love comes back to you somehow. It is really all about love. And from then, whatever I have asked for, when I want something, I truly, and I care for another human being, God always finds a way to make it happen. I remember when I was leaving the country, I went to the prison, and I met somebody who killed my family. I looked at him, and I realized that he truly did not know what he was doing. Why would anyone want to come to prison and kill people? And I offered him forgiveness. It wasn't hard. What was hard was the journey to understand forgiveness and let go. And I remember when I told him I forgave him, he covered his eyes. He couldn't look at me. I can feel something went out of him. I can feel he wanted to be kind. And the head of the jail was really mad that I told someone who killed my family to forgive him. He said, you forgot what we went through? What's wrong with you? I thought I have done wrong maybe by not understanding his pain too. But a year later, this man came to look for me, the head of the jail who was mad. And he told me, that day changed my life. He told me he had lost 5 children and his wife. And he didn't know how to deal with it. He used to beat the prisoners. His pain was more and more every day. So he said, even when I was confused that you forgave him, but I went home and my heart started to think about that too. And I started to speak to them and offered also forgiveness. And he was coming to tell me he had met somebody, he was going to get married again and start a new family. Because before, he thought he was just going to revenge his family that have died. This man, he's still a friend of mine. He always reminds me, that moment changed my life when you were able to forgive that killer. And I know it was not me, it was the grace of God. The grace that touched my heart, that also touched his heart. I moved to United States in 1998, started to work with United Nations until I wrote my first book, Left to Tell, which I never knew I would ever have to speak to this many people, or many people would even read the book. I was writing to like 5 friends who were having some troubles. I'm like, maybe if I write a book, give them what I have gone through, they might feel good. And the book came out. It shocked me, surprised me again by the grace of God. 2 weeks after it was out, it was a New York Times bestseller. Never knew that can happen. And I am so grateful to God. And since then, everything I do, everything you buy through my books, a part of it, continue to help also children in Rwanda. But so grateful for Doterra because you are doing what I couldn't do, what I was not able to do. And you have changed so many lives. Before I go, I want to thank you again for having me. I want to thank you for what you are doing. I do go to Rwanda. If you ever want to come, you can always visit my website. I actually put together groups that go to visit, immaculate.com, my first name. And if you ever want, I would be happy to take you. But anyway, I want to thank you again, but especially want to thank David and his wife, who have come to Rwanda so far twice and have sent somebody representing you, always speak in the name of Doterra. But how they give themselves. These people, they will have one day to travel all the way to Africa, spend one day visiting school, the next day come back. I'm like, how do you do this? They have taught me so much. They have taught me to sacrifice myself. They have taught me not to complain, even more. They taught me that you give yourself when you want to change the world. And I'm so grateful I have met them. And I have met you. Oh, thank you. And before I leave, again, I want to thank you, but I love to end with this. You know, I speak to many groups around the world, and when I look at you, of course, a big group, but in my heart, I remain aware that each one of us is individual. Each one of us, we have our own challenges. Each one of us have their own troubles, their pain, their bathroom in some ways. And I just want to tell you from my heart to yours, individually, that please, no matter what you might be facing, what you might go through, what you might be going through, remember there is always hope with God. Don't give up. Keep going. God is almighty. Thank you, thank you. It is not just your strength, but you have a superpower behind you. And definitely when you see Doterra, you can see that superpower, the founders of this beautiful company believe in that. And I want also to say, if I can forgive, anyone can forgive. Dare to go there. There's so much joy, so much freedom. Thank you so much again.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Doterra founding executive sales and marketing, Emily Wright.
Oh. Wow. Thank you, Immaculée. Thank you so much. Oh, isn't she a gorgeous person? She has shown us how we can overcome trials and hardships and tragedy and truly open our hearts to forgive. I remember 10 years ago sitting around a conference table with my business partners. We were a young company at that time. We had just started selling essential oils about 5 months prior. We didn't know yet whether we were going to make it. Financially, it was looking a little bit bleak, but we had a whole lot of faith and a whole lot of excitement to share with the world what we had come to know to be truth with these special gifts of the earth. And as we sat around this conference table, as we do every single Monday since we started the company, we start that meeting with a prayer. And I remember Rob Young saying, what type of company do we want Doterra to be? What type of culture do we want to emulate? And I will never forget the conversation we had as we talked about creating a culture of giving back, of truly helping people. We knew as we started Doterra that it needed to be a person-to-person model. which meant we had to enter the world of network marketing. And we knew the criticisms that were there, we knew the downfalls that existed, and the focus that had been on opportunity. And we knew by entering that space, we had to change network marketing as it existed and have it focus on being about the people and blessing the lives of as many people around the world as we possibly could. And through that conversation, said, in order to create a culture of giving back, we have to create a foundation. And that's when the Healing Hands Foundation was born. We created that 501c3, and each of us personally invested into Healing Hands at a time that we were still living off of savings accounts, wondering whether that money was going to last, wondering whether the company was going to make it, so that we could help those who were not in a position of helping themselves. To see what Healing Hands has become today warms our heart. People will say, did you see what Doterra would become 10 years ago? I think it would have scared us to death. No, we didn't see it. We would talk big because our vision was big. We wanted to help as many people as we possibly could, and we wanted to make sure that we were good stewards of nature's most precious gift. But today, you've seen just a glimpse of what Healing Hands has become. And as we end this day, first I have to tell you about an amazing woman. Her name is Kristen Van Way. And she has been working with women in Haiti. I remember my first conversation with Kristen. Jared Winger had called me up on the phone, and he said, Emily, I've met this extraordinary woman, and she wants to talk to you. And it was right after a terrible shooting, right in school. And she was on the phone, and she says, we want to help. We want to be the support system. I said, we're here. We're going to provide the oils. We're going to provide the emotional support. How can we help you do what you do best? And she saw that Doterra was her vehicle in order to serve others. And what she has created since that moment has blown me away. Her dream was to go to Haiti and to serve the people there and to somehow alleviate their pain. And now she has found a way to work with women in understanding that as these women get pregnant over and over and over again, not understanding how they become pregnant and have more children than they can provide for. They don't have enough food to provide them. And oftentimes, these mothers find themselves in a position of having to sell their children because they can't feed them, thinking that they are sending them away to a place where they will be fed and nurtured, not understanding that they are sent away to become sex slaves for the rest of their life. So what Kristen has done is found a way to educate these women on finding out how they get pregnant and how they can prevent having more children than what they can feed. So she's created an opportunity for them to create bracelets. These bracelets are made out of trash, which are all around the streets of Haiti, in any type of materials they can find. These women are employed and given jobs to make these bracelets. And the bracelets show their menstrual cycle and their ovulation cycle of when they're most fertile. So they know when to abstain from having intercourse. And it has become such an education piece for these women to finally be empowered to understand what's going on with their bodies. And the men have taken note, And they've looked at these bracelets and said, what are these bracelets that the women are wearing? And as they've become educated, they have chosen to become a part of this. And to respect their women, they're wearing these bracelets as well. So, pretty awesome, isn't it? So the Let's Empower Women project is fantastic. So if you want one of these bracelets to support these women, to employ more women in Haiti and create more awareness, you can buy them at the Healing Hands booth. I believe they're $20. You can either take them home with you or you can buy them and they'll be gifted to more women in Haiti. It can be your choice. But today, we close the day with an amazing treat. Several months ago, Kenny Anderson, who is a double diamond in Doterra, introduced me to an amazing, beautiful woman by the name of Nadia. Nadia has a heart of gold, and she has been writing songs and singing professionally since she was 7 years old. She loves to sing for causes. As I was introduced to Nadia, I knew immediately that she needed to meet Mark. And as I brought Mark into my office, and the three of us sat and talked about what Healing Hands stands for, and all of the stories, and all of the good that we're all doing through Healing Hands. And we asked Nadia if she could write a song that would embody the spirit and the vision that has become Healing Hands. So today, you get to hear her sing this song that she has written for Healing Hands for the very first time. So please welcome to the stage Nadia Christine as she will sing Hands Will Speak. And have a wonderful day, everyone. We love you.
There's no escape from here. I'm numb to my fears. I close my eyes to be the fire that burns in me, in me. I have a name, a heartbeat, but outcasts don't breathe. We are unknown. I fight their shame and the silence at the mercy of these open wounds. Something needs to change, but I don't know what I could say. My words are weak. my eyes to